So Pope Leo's greatest generation dad served on D-Day tank landing ship. His name was Lewis Marius Pos, the father of Pope Leo XIV, served on D-Day landing ship during World War II and was a junior lieutenant in the U.S. Navy. Since Pope Leo XIV became the new pontiff, the world has been eager to learn more about the first U.S.-born pope. The U.S. Department of Defense, DOD, released a statement about Pope Leo's late father and his role in the revered greatest generation that won World War II. Pos, his father, was born on July 28, 1920 in Chicago. After he graduated from college, he joined the Navy in November 1943 when he was 23 years old. According to the Department of Defense, Pos became the executive officer of a tank landing ship and participated in the D-Day landings in Normandy, France on June 6, 1944 as part of Operation Overlord. He was in charge of a landing craft that the Allies used to land infantry soldiers and Marines onto beaches during the war. On June 6, 1944, Pos was involved in the Allied forces landing troops on Normandy beaches that successfully executed the largest air, land, and sea invasion in history, according to the Department of Defense. The Normandy coastline would soon run out of capacity for the amount of materials needed to keep the Allied momentum going. The U.S. Navy then sent Pos and other landing ships to southern France on August 15, 1944 to take part in Operation Dragoon, which forced the Germans to defend a second front, diluting their effectiveness. By the end of August, the DOD said the Allies had captured the French ports of Marseille and Toulon, immediately using them to land supplies and equipment. In October 1944, more than a third of Allied cargo was shipped through those ports. Prevost was overseas on active duty for 15 months. He attained the rank of lieutenant junior grade prior to the war ending on May 8, 1945. After the war, Prevost returned home and became the head of an elementary school district in Glenwood, Illinois. He later took a job as a principal at Mount Carmel Elementary School in Chicago and also did work teaching the principles of the Christian religion as a catechist. In 1949, Prevost married Mildred Martinez, who was a librarian at the time. The couple had 3 sons, John Joseph Prevost, Lewis Martin Prevost, also a U.S. Navy veteran, and Robert Francis Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV. Prevost passed away in Chicago due to natural causes on November 8th, 1997. Wow. Jerry, this information ties our Pope in even more to America than I even thought.
Of course. And you know what else it does, Jesse? Dads inspire their boys. Yeah. I'm one of 3 boys, just like he is. And he's the youngest of 3 boys, just like me. Okay? And so I listened to that World War II story, and I think of my uncle, Uncle Frank, who had the exact same job as the Pope's dad, landing these crafts with men on board, and they had to go, zigzag in because there were mines that were going to blow up their boats if they got hit. And the Germans are shooting at them. It's a very dangerous job to go in and out, dropping off guys. And I thought about that. My uncle told me, after World War II, I was an adult. I said, Uncle Frank, how did you do that? I mean, how did you stay focused? He said, well, I prayed, asked Our Lady to protect me, and I just followed the instructions. My boss, the boss says, here's how you do it: you zigzag and stay focused. Don't go straight ahead because you're going to get killed by a mine or something. So don't do that. Just stick to your guns, so to speak. And he saw a lot of his friends blown up because they got nervous when they were landing. And that could have happened to the Pope's dad, but it didn't, obviously. The point I'm trying to convey is this is inspirational for the kids to say, hey, Dad did this. I'm going to throw one thing at you, Jesse, and then I'm going to say about dads. Your dad was inspirational to you. I know many stories. I don't think I've ever shared this story, but after my dad had died, my dad's brother told me the story of World War II. I said, about my dad, what was it? He said, well, because he had 4 brothers at the time fighting the war. He said, well, your dad was a very quiet man, but when business needed to be taken care of, he would take care of business. Well, one of his guys in the platoon was going nuts. They had it was like a mental breakdown, nervous breakdown, and he grabbed a knife and he was swinging it and trying to cut everybody up. That he was just nuts. And so my dad talked to the guy and said, put the knife down. He wouldn't put the knife down. And back then, Jesse, everybody learned how to box. Okay, that was what part of your formation back.
The Knights of Columbus used to hold these
my dad,
boxing training.
My dad was a pretty good boxer, and one punch, he punched the guy and knocked him out, and the knife fell out of his hand, and then he sat down. Now, Jesse, you know boxing, you got to hit somebody in the right spot to knock him out. Is that a fair statement?
Yep. It's got to be fast. It's got to be in the right spot, and it's got to be, it's got to. You have to have good technique.
Yeah.
You just can't swing like a girl. You know what I'm saying?
And I never knew this about my dad, but that inspired me. I said, Dad was willing to risk his life. That guy with the knife, he didn't have to deal with it. He said, let someone else deal with it. He walked up to him and said, put the knife down, John. Put it down. Come on, don't hurt it. And he wouldn't do it. So he punched him down. What did that do for me? It gave me this is what real men do, Jesse. We don't back away from danger. That's what I wanted to share with you.
That's right.
So I think that his dad had to inspire him. That's